I sold my inheritance to pay off my parents' debt, then they disowned me. Growing up, my parents always taught me that family comes first. It was a mantra repeated at every family dinner, every holiday gathering, and every tough moment we faced. We're not rich, my dad would say, but we have each other. And that's what matters. I believed it wholeheartedly. To me, family wasn't just important, it was everything. We weren't wealthy by any means, but we were comfortable. My dad worked long hours at the factory, and my mom picked up odd jobs to help make ends meet. My younger sibling, Sarah, was the baby of the family, and naturally, she got most of the attention. I didn't mind, though. I understood that being the eldest meant I had to be more independent, more self-reliant. That's just how things were. When my grandparents passed away, it was devastating for all of us. They had been the glue that held our family together, the source of warmth and wisdom we all leaned on. After their passing, I learned they had left me a substantial inheritance, a safety net they'd spent their entire lives building for me. It was enough to buy a small home, start a business, or secure my future in ways I hadn't even dreamed of yet. I was overwhelmed with gratitude and vowed to honor their sacrifice by using the money wisely. For years, I kept that money untouched, letting it sit in investments and savings accounts. I didn't want to squander it, and I knew the time would come when I'd need it for something important. What I didn't realize was that the important moment would come much sooner than I expected, and not in the way I imagined. It started subtly. My parents began missing payments on the mortgage, utility bills, and car loans. At first, they assured me it was nothing to worry about. Just a rough patch, my dad would say with forced optimism. But as the months went by, their stress became impossible to hide. The arguments grew louder, the tension thicker, and the smiles rarer. I knew something was seriously wrong. One evening, they sat me down at the kitchen table. My mom's hands trembled as she held her coffee mug, and my dad couldn't meet my eyes. "We're in trouble," he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "The debts, they've piled up. We're going to lose the house if we don't pay them off soon." My heart sank. "How much do you need?" I asked, already bracing myself for the answer. He hesitated before giving me the number. It was staggering, far more than I could have imagined. I felt the weight of their desperation pressing down on me, and I knew what I had to do. The inheritance. It was sitting there, untouched, waiting for a moment like this. "Don't worry about it," I said, forcing a smile I didn't feel. "I'll take care of it." My mom's eyes filled with tears, and my dad reached across the table to squeeze my hand. "You're saving us," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're the hero of the family." I didn't think twice. I sold everything: stocks, property, savings. Within weeks, the debts were paid off, and my parents were able to keep the house. I told myself it was worth it. I was saving my family, and that was all that mattered. The inheritance had been a blessing, and now it had served its purpose. At first, my parents were overflowing with gratitude. My dad bragged about me to his friends, calling me the backbone of the family. My mom cooked my favorite meals and showered me with affection. For a brief moment, I felt like I was finally the center of their world. But the honeymoon phase didn't last long. Gradually, things began to shift. Sarah, my younger sibling, started to take up more and more space in their lives. She was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. If she needed help with her college tuition, my parents bent over backward to provide it. If she wanted a new car, they somehow found the money. If she had a problem, they dropped everything to solve it. At first, I told myself it was fine. Sarah was younger, and she needed their support more than I did. But as time went on, their favoritism became impossible to ignore. They stopped inviting me to family dinners, claiming they forgot. They made major decisions, like selling an old family heirloom, without consulting me. They even started referring to Sarah as the responsible one, as if my years of sacrifice had never happened. The final blow came one Sunday afternoon, during what was supposed to be a casual family gathering. We were sitting in the living room, chatting about nothing in particular, when my dad suddenly announced, we've updated our will. Oh? I said, raising an eyebrow. What kind of updates? Well, he began, shifting uncomfortably in his seat, we've decided to leave everything to Sarah. You've already gotten your share, so it only seems fair. I stared at him, stunned. My share? You mean the inheritance I used to save your house? Exactly, my mom chimed in, as if it were the most logical thing in the world. You were given that money, and you used it. Sarah hasn't gotten anything yet, so it's only right that she gets the rest. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're cutting me out completely? I asked, my voice trembling. Don't think of it like that, my dad said, trying to placate me. You've already been taken care of. This is just about evening things out. Evening things out. The words echoed in my mind, cold and cruel. I had given up my future for them, my grandparents' hard-earned legacy, and now they were erasing me from theirs. I felt a wave of anger, hurt, and betrayal wash over me, threatening to consume me. I can't believe this, I said, standing up. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. We're grateful for what you did, my mom said, her tone defensive. But you can't expect us to favor you forever. Sarah deserves her chance, too. Her chance. As if Sarah hadn't already been handed everything on a silver platter. As if my sacrifice had been nothing more than a blip on their radar. I left the house that day feeling like a stranger in my own family. The people who had taught me that family comes first had turned their backs on me, casting me aside like I didn't matter. For weeks, I wrestled with my emotions, anger, sadness, confusion. I couldn't understand how they could be so callous, so ungrateful. I had given up everything for them, and in return, they had given me nothing. Eventually, I realized I had a choice to make. I could keep clinging to the hope that they would change, that they would see the error of their ways and welcome me back into the fold. Or I could let go. I could walk away and start rebuilding my life, piece by piece. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was a necessary one. I chose myself. I stopped calling them. I stopped visiting. When they reached out, I kept my responses polite but distant. Slowly but surely, I began to create a life that didn't revolve around their approval or validation. I reconnected with old friends, threw myself into my career, and even started a side business, a small online shop selling handmade crafts. It wasn't much, but it was mine. The journey wasn't without its challenges. There were nights when I'd lie awake, wondering if I'd made the right choice. Birthdays and holidays were especially tough, the silence from my family a stark reminder of what I'd lost. But over time, the pain began to fade, replaced by a sense of pride and independence I hadn't felt in years. One day, out of the blue, I received a message from Sarah. She wanted to meet for coffee, to catch up. Part of me wanted to ignore her, to protect myself from whatever drama she was about to bring into my life. But another part of me was curious. So I agreed. When we met, she looked nervous, fidgeting with her cup as she avoided my gaze. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," she finally said. "For everything." Her apology caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" I asked cautiously. "For the way Mom and Dad treated you," she said. "For the way I treated you. It wasn't fair. You deserved better." Her words were genuine, and for the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the bonds of family weren't completely broken. We talked for hours that day, about the past, the present, and the future. Sarah admitted that she had felt guilty for years, watching me sacrifice everything while she reaped the benefits. She wanted to make amends, to rebuild our relationship. And while I wasn't ready to fully trust her, or anyone in my family, her honesty was a step in the right direction. In the end, I learned that family isn't just about blood or shared history. It's about respect, love, and reciprocity. It's about valuing each other, not just when it's convenient, but always. My parents may have betrayed me, but their actions taught me an invaluable lesson. Sometimes, the family you choose is more important than the one you're born into. Today, I'm stronger, wiser, and more self-reliant than ever. I've built a life I'm proud of, a life that's mine and mine alone. And while the scars of the past remain, they serve as a reminder of my resilience, my strength, and my worth.